Sinnoh is my favorite region. It's what started it all for me in Pokemon as a kid, and it's definitely the most loved and nostalgic one for me. So, like most people, I'm really excited for these new remakes and also praying that they live up to the originals. So naturally, there have been a lot of concerns about whether platinum elements will be in the game, what features will or will not be included, and so on. So today, I'm going to try to answer all of these questions by thoroughly breaking down the trailer. So of course, the number one question that's on everyone's mind is, are we going back to the Distortion World? Most likely, yes. Since Arceus gets its own game, which I still can't believe, they have room to add in Giratina and the Distortion World. The Distortion World was the peak of the story of Platinum, and seeing as it's already been made before, they just need to remaster it, so it doesn't make sense for them to not include it as well. At the very least, we might be able to go to the Distortion World and encounter Giratina in the post-game, like we did with Rayquaza in the Delta episode in the post-game of Oras, and remakes have always brought back elements from the third game. If we look closely at the trailer, we see an NPC that only appears in Platinum and not Diamond and Pearl in Floroma Town. This lady gives you a Gracidia flower if you show her the Shaman from the Flower Paradise event, which turns Shaman into Sky form, a Platinum exclusive form. Not only does this support the hopes that Platinum elements will be in these games, but it also suggests that we might get the OG style of mythical Pokemon events like Shaman, Darkrai, and Manaphy. Like, imagine a nightmare to catch Darkrai like the original event in these graphics. Another major concern is the Sinnoh dex, and whether these games will use the limited Diamond and Pearl regional dex or the expanded Platinum dex. But Porygon Z, which is only in the Platinum regional dex, was shown in the trailer, so it looks like they'll be going with the Platinum dex, or at least an expanded version of the Diamond and Pearl dex, so we won't end up with only two fire types again. And of course, the Platinum feature that we're all dying to see return, the Battle Frontier. In the trailer, we see Dawn walking in Snowpoint City next to the ship which takes us to the Battle Frontier, so this could mean that after we beat the game, we'll be able to go back to the Battle Frontier. We were really disappointed in Oras when the Battle Frontier didn't make a reappearance, likely due to the developers running out of time to make the games. But since another company is working on these games with Game Freak, and they have been a few years overdue, it seems like they're taking their time to make sure the quality of these remakes are the best that they can be. So we might see the Battle Frontier finally make a return after being removed for 4 generations. Moving on to gameplay details, these games look more like remastered versions than remakes, which is actually a good thing since Sinnoh is pretty much perfect the way it is, and this will definitely make it all the more nostalgic. This is made more likely when you notice the small details that have stayed exactly the same from the original games, such as the picture for the Red Gyarados TV announcement at the start of the game, the patterns of flower patches in Floroma Town, and even the Pokeball animation before trainer battles and seeing both the trainer and wild Pokemon at the start of a random encounter. Also, the return to the top-down overworld is a nice nod to the original style of play and will definitely make this game feel much more immersive and again, nostalgic. Random encounters have returned, and it appears that these will be replacing the overworld encounters of Let's Go and Sword and Shield, so repels will be useful again, and it looks like we'll be able to fight the wild Pokemon instead of just catching them. The player is able to move diagonally and in any direction, and in the snapshot of the Pokemon Dialga Palkia statue in Eterna City, we see bike racks exactly like the original games, which suggests that bikes are going to be in the game and might even have the 4 different gears of the original Sinnoh bike too. Day and night cycles are returning as we see daytime, evening, and night all in the trailer, which means that we might get remastered versions of all the amazing city and route themes for day and night. And speaking of routes, the number of each route is now clearly visible on the route sign. Other features include the return of honey trees, which require slathering honey on them and waiting 6 hours to find rare Pokemon like Heracross and Munchlax. It also looks like we'll be able to plant berries again, as seen by the patches of soil in front of the flower shop in Floroma Town, which in the original games gives you items for planting berries. And as a nice nostalgic touch, the Valley Windworks Drifloon also returns, which in the original games could be encountered once every Friday. To stay true to the original games, it looks like there won't be any player customization this time around, which isn't necessarily a bad thing since it'll only make the games feel that much closer to the originals and possibly the anime, since Dawn's wearing her bracelet from the anime, which she's actually never worn in the games before. As for the in-game features, in the trailer we see a clown standing in front of a building in Jubilife City. In the original Sinnoh games, this clown gives you a ticket that you need for the Pokétch, which means that the Pokétch, aka the best device of any Pokemon game, is gonna make a return. This is further confirmed when Barry is shown wearing one, and let's be real, it's just too good to leave out. One of the most talked about parts of the trailer was the return to the underground, which means that secret bases, mining, and other multiplayer features are probably going to return as well. Speaking of other features, contests were hinted at through the screen in Jubilife City, and they did make a return in the Hoenn remakes, so they'll most likely see a return in the Sinnoh remakes too, along with their exclusive activities like making Poffins. And it's possible that like the underground, we'll be able to play with friends and people online in multiplayer modes with contests too. With the return of the Pokédex, Underground, and possibly contests, there are some other features that weren't shown in the trailer but that we could also expect to see return, like the Poké Radar, which was a fun strategic way of shiny hunting. Now, as for HMs, it's not clear whether or not they'll make a return since all of the past generation remakes have had them, but then again, all of those remakes were made before Gen 7 and the removal of HMs, so maybe they'll make a return just to stay true to the originals, or they might pull a Let's Go and make them secret techniques that certain Pokemon on your team can use to keep the convenience while staying true to the original games. Overall, I'm really excited for these remakes, and it seems like Game Freak knows how much Sinnoh means to us. Yes, it's by far my favorite region, so they're really trying to bring back all the things that we loved about the original Sinnoh games, Platinum included. That's about everything I gathered from the trailer, but what are your thoughts about these new games? If you noticed anything in these trailers or have ideas for what these new games could hold, let me know in the comments below. But that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new here and like what you're seeing, as it really helps me out a lot. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace.